Stadium on a brilliant fall Tuesday, prime time, girls soccer. Alongside our crew and Alex Redding, Josh Powers with you. Jefferson and Chaska, the matchup for the second time this year. These teams played back on Saturday, August 29th. Chaska was victorious 2-0, but the Jaguars played maybe their best game of the year on Thursday. We saw in a 1-0 loss to Benilde St. Margaret's. The Jaguars come in with a record of 1-4-1. Chaska 5-1, sitting atop the Metro West. What we saw in the boys' game that ended in a 2-2 tie a little bit earlier. Anything can happen tonight. As we get ready for this one, Jefferson, that stingy defense, they have only allowed 8 goals in 6 games this year. It's amazing. They've lost 4 times with those numbers, but as you can imagine, offense has been hard to come by for the Jaguars. They've scored just 3 this year. Meanwhile, for Chaska, they are stingy as well. They have given up just 4 goals through 6 games this year. Their only loss was to Benilde 3-0. That's half of their goal total this year given up in that one game alone. Let's send it down to field level for the starting lineups. And as we get in front of this game here between Chaska and Jefferson, no national anthem for this one. So let's send it down to field level for those starting lineups.
Senior number 0, Jenna Williams. At forward, senior captain number 2, Samantha Ramble. At forward, sophomore number 3, Madeline Davey. Defender, senior number 4, Carly Glassberg. Midfielder, junior number 6, Paige Baki. Defender, senior number 9, Abigail Nyson. Defender, senior number 10, Isabel Harmon. Midfielder, senior captain number 12, Lillian Esping. Midfielder, junior number 13, Kinley O'Connor. Midfielder, captain, senior number 14, Kaylee Van Epps. And defender, senior captain number 15, Abigail Rogers. Head coach for the Hawks is Steve Buolo. And now the starting lineup for the Jefferson Jaguars. Goalkeeper, senior number 0, Kayla Youngworth. Midfielder, senior number 2, Ella Bloomquist. Ella is also a captain. Midfielder, freshman number 3, Emma Yates. Forward, senior number 11, Captain Rachel Hall. Midfielder, junior number 12, Jada Johnson. Defender, junior number 14, Emma Nelson. Midfielder, junior number 16, Jolie Gunn. Midfielder, sophomore number 17, Aya McLeod. Midfielder, junior number 18, Hadley Zoso. Defender, senior number 21, Captain Claire Sazma. And defender, sophomore number 22, Valerie Panvika. Head coach for the Jaguars is Eric Johnson. The officials for tonight's game are Zachariah Ali, Chris Jessen, and Joe Cook. Just a few reminders before we begin. This game is being played according to the rules of the Minnesota State High School League. These rules provide for fair competition and good sportsmanship among the players. Spectators can help promote good sportsmanship during and following the game by observing the...
All right, high atop the Bloomington Stadium press box, our socially distanced press box. We're in separate booths. We don't just put a pane of plexiglass in between myself and Alex Redding. We got full doors and walls. Alex, let's start with Jefferson. We know all about their stingy defense. It starts back there with Emma Nelson and Claire Sazama.
It most certainly does, Josh. And if you need an example, or even, ladies and gentlemen, you want to have something to reference, I would direct you to the last match we covered that Jefferson played right here at Bloomington Stadium last Thursday night against the Benilde St. Margaret Red Knights. And by the way, Benilde has been the only team this season that has defeated these Chaska Hawks, and that game ended in a 3-0 Benilde St. Margaret victory. And so in order to do that and hold the Benilde St. Margaret Red Knights to 1 goal in that game against a team that shut out these Chaska Hawks, my goodness, you have to have some experience back there, and they do. Jefferson has one, and in fact, I believe one of the best defenders in the entire conference, and that be Claire Sasma, number 21 for Jefferson. Pretty hard to miss her with those neon cleats back there, holding down the fort. Also, Kayla Youngworth, another primetime player for Jefferson in net as the goalkeeper. She has come up big in this season as well for the Columbia Blue and White. And, Jefferson's offense looking to turn it on. That's been a little bit of a struggle for them this year. And, against Chaska, they're definitely going to need to bring the heat. And, by the way, Jefferson has some weapons offensively. Aya Mackled is going to be a big threat, number 17 on the soccer pitch. And, by the way, she can get into the open and score very consistently if she's given that opportunity, Josh. Chaska's going to have their eye on her for the entire evening, I would assume, as you'd probably have to with the way that she's able to find space for herself and able to pass the ball, too, to her teammates. She does a good job.
Well, and for the Hawks, as we're underway, Chaska moving from right to left in this first half in the white, Jefferson in the Columbia blue. But Chaska's got a pair of outstanding forwards in Paige Bakke, number 6, and Madeline Davey, number 3. They have combined this year for 8 of the 12 Chaska Hawk goals. So that is a dynamic combo up front that Jefferson is going to be aware of. They already are. Obviously, these teams have played earlier this year, but that's going to be a fascinating matchup. We saw Jefferson's defense play so well against Benilde on Thursday. Can they do it again tonight and maybe find a goal or two in there? We will see.
I think they have it in them, Josh, especially with the energy that they carried in the second half of that game. I got to tell you, and also Chaska's carrying a lot of energy too, by the way.
Bloomquist, the captain, ball ahead, intended for Macklin, but not able to be received. Here's Bakke. Jefferson's defense so very rarely out of position.
And one of the reasons why they're so well in position is because these girls have spent so much time playing with one another through youth ball, through club ball, and even now being reunited in the Jefferson soccer program. They have such a great chemistry, and it's so fun to watch on the soccer pitch night in and night out when they have games. I got to tell you, Josh, this is going to be some night. And Chaska's going to be put to the test as rarely as anyone's going to say that this year about the Hawks.
Also back there, Valerie Panvika for Jefferson, just a sophomore, along with Sazama and Nelson. Here is Macklin, their best offensive player, clearly for the Jaguars. Also, Hall is up there as another forward. A good option as well for head coach Eric Johnson. Here's a steal, though. Esping got it ahead to Davey, but she couldn't do much with it. Co-captain Bloomquist slams it off of a Hawk player for a Jaguar throw. Chaska's given up just 4 goals this year. They have an outstanding goalkeeper as well, and Jenna Williams, a senior. Here's Macklin at the midfield stripe. Maybe had a chance to get Hall on a run, but instead gives it away to the Hawks. O'Connor, excuse me.
Easy enough for you to say,
exactly.
Right, Josh?
This is game number 2. We're getting a little later into the night as we have our first corner. It'll go to the way of the Hawks.
Hawks are very dangerous on the corner kick, Josh.
And we saw them against Kennedy, Chaska, just on Thursday in a 1-0 win. And Kinley O'Connor takes a lot of these corner kicks, and she's out there to do the first one here. And this one off the side of her foot, not the right side.
It's going to be very important for Jefferson tonight. If they're going to put some balls into the back of the net, they have to play optimistically like we saw the boys did earlier in their match against the Chaska boys squad, and that was a 2-2 tie.
by far the best game the boys have played this year, their first non-loss, and it was against the team with the most points in conference. And much like the boys team, the Chaska girls are also leading in points in the conference, but not by record percentages. Benilde is also undefeated on the girls' side as well.
Chanhassen also up there too at 5-2-0, by the way.
Yeah, so if Chaska, if the girls want to win a Metro West title, they can ill afford a slip up like the boys did in that tie result they had earlier. I think the goal for the girls, if you watch that game on Thursday against Benilde, they were very solid on D, but they didn't generate a lot of scoring chances. They certainly had a few sprinkled here and there, but you'd like to see the girls be a little bit more what we saw with the boys earlier, Alex. They were a bit more dangerous. They certainly, past those first 10 minutes of the first half, it was about a 50-50 game after that.
Well, then not just that, too, Josh. They controlled the second half. I mean, yes, they did let a nice touch goal in by Garcia, but Jefferson had the momentum, especially Hernandez, too, after the Akum injury coming in and kickstarting the offense, and then Kaiser scoring the tying goal of the game. Jefferson had to come back 2 times as this one's blasted towards the
Esping off the post. Great strike by Lillian Esping, the senior captain.
Post 1, ball nothing on that last play.
Kayla Youngworth very fortunate. Rare to see her not be able to cover all that ground. I think that shot by Esping took her a little by surprise. Here's a ball across. Davey! And that hits the outside of the post.
That post has really been a best friend to Kayla Youngworth. We saw that happen in the second half in the Benilde game that Jefferson last played, the girls that is. But there's a few chances down the stretch that Benilde had to try and put the ball in the net, and just some really lucky breaks for Jefferson. And again, more coming out the gate here in tonight's match, Josh. I got to say, Kayla Youngworth really has done a great job at summoning those goalposts to her advantage.
So Jefferson's D will need to tighten up here. There's been 2 great scoring chances for the Hawks in the first 7 minutes.
Emma Nelson to throw it in for the Jefferson Jaguars here, and Jefferson needs to put Aya Mockled in a position to get passes ahead. And play optimistically like the boys did, as I said earlier.
Esping ball to the corner for Davey. Davey slams it off of Panvika for a second Chaska corner.
And Davey last sent that ball to Davy Jones's locker. Well out of play, of course, but that defensive pressure already starting to get to Chaska a little bit early here too.
So a Chaska corner again, it's O'Connor. Second Hawk corner, this one more on target, but Nelson got there in time.
Nice job by Jefferson's defense to take away the top of the box. Oh, great block by Sasma as the kick sails over the net.
And what did we say about 25 times on Thursday? Block shot Jefferson. It was usually either Nelson or Sazama. Claire Sazama getting the first block shot of this one. You got Emma Nelson back there. She's only a junior, but she plays like a senior. And they are helping the youngster, the sophomore Panvika, really grow. And of course you got Youngworth back there, athletic goaltender, rarely makes a mistake. Here's Macklin, only a sophomore herself. Look at that move there. Finds Hall, back for Macklin, too far. Helping her up front is Abby Longhenry, number 7.
Macklin so dynamic as a two-way player, especially in the midfield where she has a chance to get towards the ball. She can take control and give Jefferson some chances.
You mentioned the two-way player. They also really like, she's, as you mentioned, Alex, very effective at that midfield spot, but they also utilize her down in the offensive end on set pieces in tight space. She's got very quick feet. Chaska throw here as we near the 10-minute mark. Gone by first half. Glad you're with us in prime time as our expanded coverage of soccer continues. soon it won't be the only sport around, as
Thank goodness.
football announcing yesterday that they will be back the weekend of the 9th and 10th. We don't have a schedule yet or coverage plans yet. Obviously, we would need to wait for the schedule to come out, but that will continue to develop here in the next week or two. So stay tuned, stay close to BEC-TV and also our Facebook page for upcoming details.
You know, I said thank goodness to football coming back. It's not that soccer's been bad. Soccer's been very excellent, like that block by Jefferson's number 12, Jada Johnson, but we get even more fall sports into the mix, and, you know, I got to tell you, this is a really, really strange but very weirdly pleasant year.
It'll be a 6-week football season. It's kind of nice that you get this soccer season kind of compressed. You can get to cover that in depth, and then we'll swing into football.
And we might even see some games in the snow, and I'm rooting for that one. I know that you, Josh, are going to cringe at hearing that, but we definitely could see some games in the snow.
Just as long as we're inside this beautiful, newly renovated Bloomington Stadium press box, I'm okay with it. Here's a ball intended for Long Henry. Long Henry can't quite get there. It'll go out for a Jaguar throw, so a chance here for Jefferson. First sustained offense in the Chaska end here in the first half. And they get it to Macklin. Back for Gunn, taken away by the Hawks. Long ball for Davey out of reach. Madeline Davey for Chaska, only a sophomore, 5 goals this year. A very bright future, definitely someone who's going to be playing at the next level. Not sure what level yet, but
well, if she keeps playing like that, I guarantee you there are going to be some college scholarship offers down the pipeline.
Long ball for the co-captain, Rachel Hall for Jefferson. Trying to win a throw, but could not.
Also, nice hustle by Abigail Rogers, number 15, one of the co-captains for Chaska on the last play, too. And again, Chaska likes to get team with their hustle, their speed. And we saw that in the boys' game, by the way. Chaska used their speed, their ability to transition so quick to get up and down, to take command towards the beginning of that game. Garcia putting in the first goal of that game, but then Jefferson did a nice job responding.
Good win there on a ball in tight quarters by the freshman Emma Yates, number 3 in Columbia Blue. But Chaska will get this throw. Jefferson needs to win more balls like that, and it was 50-50. That one wasn't even a 50-50. I would have given Yates about a 25% shot of winning that ball, but she did. Those are the kind of plays Jefferson's going to need to make against this very talented Chaska team.
Especially if they're going to put anything on the scoreboard, because remember, Josh, in that game against Benilde that we last saw on Thursday night last week, Jefferson spent very little, if no time, in the offensive or attacking zone. And the way they played defensively and only holding Benilde to 1 goal is beyond me, but then again, I believe that Jefferson has it in them to get it done offensively tonight if they're able to do well defensively as they showed last Thursday.
Jordan Leroy checking in for Chaska, number 19 off their bench, but it was well played by Emma Nelson. Here's Davey on a steal. Davey got around Panvika. Davey, and guess who's there to block that shot? It's Sazama. Who else?
One of the most obvious guess who's in Jaguar girls soccer, especially over the last few years.
Speaking of players that have the ability to play college soccer somewhere, Claire Sazama of Jefferson. Third corner kick for O'Connor. Into the box, a great header, and a better save by Youngworth. Chipped over, and this one will hit the side of the net. Kayla Youngworth.
I mentioned her as being a key asset back there as we get a look at the replay, and this is exactly why.
You won't find many goalies in the Metro West able to make that save. Well, there's not that many teams in the Metro West, but the point is, Alex, that was a terrific save by Kayla Youngworth.
Not a whole lot of players, especially experienced players, that can position themselves so well and be several steps ahead of the play like she is. She's done so well back there for Jefferson this year.
She's got great instincts. That's why I was surprised that that first shot she let get to that post. She's usually there. But taking advantage of it there, and what a great save.
Oh, certainly, and I think the good goaltending vibe, in fact, the great goaltending vibe is carrying over from the boys' game. Remember, Cormac Merrill had to make a few amazing saves to try and keep Chaska off the board, and he held them along with the defense at Jefferson to 2 goals. The Chaska Hawks tied the Jaguars in the boys' match earlier, and that was a fun game.
First touch for the Chaska goaltender, Jenna Williams. Prosy ball for Chaska. Good touch by the Jaguars, Panvika. Jada Johnson back to Panvika, and they play it up ahead. Jolie Gunn able to keep that one in, but too far for Long Henry as Williams sends it back toward midfield. Chaska throw this time as we're quickly nearing the midway point of this first half.
Been very entertaining so far. Jefferson's been able to get some steam in the attacking zone.
No surprise if you've watched these two teams thus far this year that no goals have been scored. These are two defenses that don't give up a lot of goals. Here's Long Henry. Sends it across. Over there is the co-captain Bloomquist. It'll be a Jaguar throw.
Chaska making it very difficult. Sorry, I am still stuck from the matches I had to call last night that were really well.
You had Chanhassen last night. Heavy duty workload for you, my friend.
Yes, sir.
We have more coverage on Thursday. That's our next Jefferson boys and girls broadcast against Cooper. Macklin with a little space, sends it toward the box for Hall, or for Lon Henry, excuse me, that's a little too far. And Williams able to corral it.
One of the key attributes as to why Maya Akla does so well in the midfield area is not just her ball handling skills, but her vision. She's very aware, and you know, that's one of the things that teams always try and focus on is field awareness, or pitch awareness in this case, in the sport of soccer, but Jefferson has a great handle of where everyone is, especially amongst their team. And of course, going back to the mountains of experience these girls have playing with each other. That's to the point where they can almost finish their own sentences, so to speak.
That ball from Esping got through, but it's out of the reach of Leroy. Able to pick it up, goaltender Youngworth. Riley Keeler is now in a forward spot for Jefferson, checking in for Rachel Hall. She's number 26.
Annalise Gulen coming in, number 16 for Chaska right now as part of the substitution group.
Outside of those first two dangerous touches, there haven't been a lot of opportunities for Chaska in this game. The Hawks did not get scored on until game number 4 this year. They opened the season with 3 shutouts, finally gave up a goal in a 3-1 win against Cooper, and really got surprised by Benilde, 3-0.
Interesting fact about Cooper, they have a couple of strong D1 recruits on their roster too, so
we'll see them on Thursday. Right back here on BEC-TV. That'll be another 7 o'clock start for, 5 o'clock start for the girls, 7:15 for the boys on Thursday.
It's going to be interesting to see how the girls adjust to the earlier time slot. Of course, I'm sure it'll feel just like any game on the pitch, but environment does have a factor for a lot of these teams in the matches that they play, especially the time in which they play.
Macklin, great ball to Long Henry. Not sure if she intended to shoot that or send it across. It went wide. Those are the kind of balls that Aya Macklin can deliver.
Especially from the top of the box. That's an area Yeah, that if you're Chaska, it's a big no-no in letting her get there because she will make you pay. And she let Kennedy find out in the first battle of Bloomington Girls Edition the hard way as to what she can do when she gets into that space. And that tied the game, by the way, too, in the second half against Kennedy.
Throw for Emma Nelson. Macklin. Esping for Chaska. Leroy. It's going to trickle too far and it'll go into the 18, which will allow Youngworth to pick it up. It's going to be an interesting matchup. We've already seen it a couple times, but Chaska's best offensive player in Madeline Davey going up against really the most inexperienced Jaguar defender in Valerie Panvika. So far, Panvika able to hold her own. Good run by Longhenry, winning a Jefferson throw as we reach the midway point of this first half. Glad you're with us. Alongside Alex Redding and our crew, Josh Powers. Two teams that have combined to give up just 12 goals in a total of a dozen games each. Combined as this one slips through, deflected out, and it's going to be a Jaguar corner.
Oh boy.
Their first.
You never know what you're going to get when you come to a Jefferson Jaguar girls soccer match. And, you know, we saw that great defense last Thursday, as I've mentioned too many times. Of course, their performance was worthy of as many mentions because of how they played. But tonight we're seeing the offense kick it up a notch.
Here's the corner by Gunn. It's a low one. She might get another chance at it. This one also low and deflected away by the Hawks. Jada Johnson. Giveaway. Now the Hawks on a counter attack. It's Davey. Pass was behind her, and that allowed Nelson to come up.
Emma Nelson just so optimistic as a defensive player, and back there with Sazama, they just make life a living heck for offenses. And even in the midfield, as we just seen, they're not afraid to go outside of that penalty box to make a much-needed play. And, you know, the other interesting thing to point out in this game, too, Josh, is that if I am seeing things correctly, Jefferson has had the majority of time in the attacking zone.
I don't know about that, but it's certainly been a higher percentage than what we saw against Benilde St. Margaret's on Thursday. That's a good decision there by Youngworth to go ahead and pick that one up. And a rare foul in this game. This one goes against the Hawks, the visitors. And Sazama do a little bit more than just D. She takes a lot of these free kicks from toward that midfield area. She can send it a long way. She lifts it toward the box. Played away by the Hawks, and here's where they need to be careful. As Davey has a lot of open room. Trying to squeeze one in, Davey, but Sazama has none of that.
Gotta like how Sazama faces the play or faces the ball handler almost all the time.
Good touch there by Nelson to drizzle it away. Both teams have kind of settled into this game. Unlike the boys' game where it was really open and free for the majority of the game, these two teams play it very close to the vest. Good challenge here by Jada Johnson. Unfortunately, it'll go for a Chaska throw. Kaylee Van Epps, number 14, a key midfielder for the Hawks. A player that can deliver it up to the likes of a Baki or a Davey. Here is Baki. Rambolt. Here's Esping. To the corner. And that blast goes well over the bar. Good combination there by Chaska.
I was going to say, those Chaska kicks, a lot like the kicks we saw in the boys' game where they just kind of sailed over. There's definitely the power behind the ball, not necessarily the angle. It's partially why Chaska likes to get it to that box area, and they don't have to worry about trying to place it too much when they kick, and they can just blast it at will. So Jefferson needs to be very careful not to allow Chaska any opportunities on corner kicks.
Good battle win there by Panvika, sends it ahead. Chance here for Long Henry. Touched it a little too far. Can't quite recover. Johnson settles it down at midfield. Smartly played over to Emma Nelson. Nelson running out of time. A rare giveaway by Nelson. It's Baki with Rambolt in front. Baki sends it twisting toward the box off the chest of Rambolt. Tries to turn, got it to Davy. Great touch, and she scores. Madeline Davy with her 6th goal of the year, and the Hawks have the lead.
The key to that goal for Chaska was Sazuma was kind of caught in an awkward spot. Nice setup there. And persistence. As we get another look at this one here.
Great touch right there. And then from there, it was a great try by Youngworth, but she really had almost no chance.
And she set up herself very, very nicely. And with how well that Sazuma has played, that's very, very difficult to do, but she got it done. Well-deserved goal for the Chaska Hawks.
And a rare mistake by the Jaguar D. It was Nelson who had that giveaway that started the possession the other way for Chaska. This is where things get difficult for the Jaguars against a team that has allowed just 4 goals all year in the Hawks. Ella Bloomquist, well done in close quarters. There's a mistake. Hall might have an angle. Hall looking for options. That was well played. Abigail Nielsen made a mistake originally, but came back. Or correction, that's Abigail Rogers, number 15, the co-captain.
The bad news for Jefferson is they couldn't quite get an offensive opportunity set up. The good news is that it's in the attacking zone in which they really need to have the ball right now.
Grace Shuck is checked in for Jefferson, number 6. Makes it easy on us in the booth. That's the same number she wears for hockey. Here's Shuck showing you the speed. And at least wins a throw, and that's great hustle by Grace Shuck, now a sophomore.
Now, going back to what I said earlier about the Jefferson Jaguars having to keep it in the attacking zone, I know it's one of the most obvious things to say, but it's so hard to do, especially against a team like Chaska, and with the offensive performance that Jefferson needs to put on tonight as compared to how they played throughout the course of this season. It's going to be focal point number 1 for them tonight, because against teams like this, they're not given very many chances. The defense has to work extra hard,
Great.
which they can do.
Jada Johnson with a great steal. This is going to force Williams to come out, and she touched it toward the box. That was smart by Williams, but it was dicey for a minute. Nelson unable to keep that in play.
A new set of Chaska Hawks come out onto the pitch, and yet again that depth is showing itself for Chaska. That's the other thing too that Chaska can do. They can take teams really deep with that depth they have on that bench.
Jefferson, a team that will make fewer subs. They have fewer players than Chaska, so it's kind of a numbers game.
That's why Jefferson can't spend a whole lot of time on defense. And because of Chaska's ability to call up fresh players from the bench and the fast break and midfield control that they have, they'd love to put teams on the back foot, and of course, who wouldn't?
Here's Shuck. Wins a throw. Jefferson trying to advance it up the field as we near the 10-minute mark remaining first half. Madeline Davey scoring for Chaska, her 6th of the season. The only goal so far.
Now, I know, Josh, that you mentioned both these teams starting to settle in, and Jefferson, one of those teams, of course, that's really important here as they look to try and keep it into the offensive zone, given the amount of pressure that Chaska has been able to put on teams this year.
Here's a blast, but it's too far for Shuck. Good idea, though, by Bloomquist.
It's better to give up the save than have it be cleared out. Make the goaltender work. Same as in hockey, and same in this sport. Make the goalie make a save.
Clever ball through here. Ball played across. Will it be a penalty? It will not be. Jefferson very fortunate. It was Bloomquist who made some contact, but not enough in the referee's opinion to warrant a penalty shot. Or penalty kick, excuse me. I'm thinking, got the hockey on my mind with the penalty shot.
Yeah, I've got hockey on my mind too, especially considering the fact the Stanley Cup Finals is already well underway between the Dallas Stars and Tampa Bay Lightning. I got to tell you, that series is really good. Although I'm disappointed that my Golden Knights didn't get in, but we have a great series nonetheless in the NHL. But back onto the soccer pitch here at Bloomington Stadium. Jefferson needs a transition opportunity here, and it's not going to be easy. They might get one here to turn it around, but instead goes out of play.
Ball by Panvika with under 10 minutes left in the first half now. And the Jaguars find some offense.
Speaking
There's
of some
Macklin
offense,
with a terrific move. Ball in the box for Hall! She scores! But it's offside.
oh no!
This one, unlike the boys' game, will not count.
That was still the kind of pressure you want to be putting on Chaska, goal or no goal. As we get another look at the replay here.
Let's see, there's the ball across. It's going to be hard to tell on this angle.
Yeah, just a bit offside.
Great touch, though, by Hall, either way. Watching that live, I do think that it was offside, Alex, as much as I want to see Jefferson equalize this game.
You and your Jefferson bias, although I can't blame you because that is your alma mater.
It did appear that Hall was just in behind the defense.
Well, Jefferson's offense may have found a weak spot in this stout Chaska D, and again, it's that slot area. We saw a lot of offensive chances in the boys' game be exploited from down low in the slot.
You're right, though. If nothing else, you gain some confidence from that play.
And with a Jefferson throw in the attacking zone.
Handball on Macklin. And that was the reason I called that off so quickly, Alex, is I was watching. I have to watch the play, obviously, but knowing that that might have been offside or looked like it was offside, immediately turned my head to the official, saw that flag up.
That was very close. Yeah, it definitely looked to me, as we verified on the replay from moments ago, that, yeah, that was offside.
You'd like to see the girls catch a break the way the boys did not earlier tonight with a, in our opinion, blown call that may have cost them a win.
And well, and also in the boys' game too, Jefferson had to come back 2 times. Of course, from 2 1-goal deficits, of course, coming back to tie the game in the end.
Let's see if the girls could do that here.
I was about to say the same.
Johnson from Macklin couldn't settle it. And it's Van Epps who plays it over to Baki. Good ball here, but Youngworth, that vision, she saw that develop, and that's how she got over there so quickly.
Well, goalkeepers have a little bit more time to think because they're sitting back in there and watching the play from a broader angle. But it also takes a lot of smarts too. And it's, again, goes back to the experience that she has with her teammates. Again, this Jefferson group so confident coming in here tonight, and even in the previous matches I keep mentioning because it was so good defensively. I mean, it was so great defensively. You can't ask for better. Just the chemistry, of course, is there defensively. And Jefferson seems to turn on the offensive gene chemistry a little bit tonight, too.
It's Davey toward the box for Rambolt. Sazama's there to send it a long way.
Rambolt on that last play kind of hesitated a little bit because she knew exactly what Sazama was going to do to it. She knew she was beat there at the top of the box position-wise by Sazama.
Good challenge there. Sazama just blocks it beautifully.
Taking away the top of the box.
Right to Jada Johnson. So we're about to hit the final 5 minutes of this first half. Chaska shut out Jefferson earlier this year, 2-0. In that game, scoring both goals was Madeline Davey, so she has 3 now against the Jaguars, 3 of her 6. She likes playing here at Bloomington Stadium.
Well, of course, with the coverage that she gets too, I don't see why players wouldn't like coming here. Of course, it's a great pitch too, very, very well kept by the grounds crew.
A little bit easier this year. We don't have
most certainly
a football game each week.
Although we will.
We will, but that's after the regular season's over. So they get the best Bloomington Stadium field they've played on in a long time this fall.
Also considering the fact, too, that the football season, when it is played in conjunction with the soccer season, really shreds that turf.
Twisting ball on the run is Long Henry, but not, or excuse me, that's Hall, but not nearly enough time to get there. Hall, though, trying to take advantage of a Chaska miscue and does. Johnson tried to get creative, but seeing that one develop was Davey. Ball back up for Davey, and Chaska's got something in the works here. Madeline Davey. Oh, brilliantly played by Emma Nelson. Just did not give her any options. Macklin, great touch there. In the direction of number 23 for Jefferson. That's Ruby Studer, a junior, number 23. Macklin in space. Up for Hall. Hits off a defender. Well, if that would have caromed a little bit more to the right, that would have set up nicely for Hall.
And I was going to say, though, Macklin, just such great vision when she's in the midfield. I could definitely tell you it's definitely left a mark in the minds of these Chaska Hawks one way or another. Let's see how the Chaska Hawks try and push it here with about 2.5 minutes to go here in the first half. It's been pretty entertaining, hasn't it, Josh, to a degree?
It has been. You'd like to have that Chaska goal back if you're the Jaguar D, but they've been good other than that. Problem is, it might be that one mistake that costs them in this game.
Ella Bloomquist, number 2 for Jefferson, with the last clear out defensively for the Jaguars.
Esping plays it across. A lot of space here for Glassberg. Glassberg into the box, headed out by Nelson. Glassberg tripped, and a free kick coming in a dangerous situation very late in this first half. Jefferson needs to survive this if they want to stay in it. It's Nielsen. Chips it ahead, and Youngworth races on to grab it. she moves quickly. They could get it ahead here. Still plenty of time with 90 seconds.
We'll get another replay of that, Josh.
I like this ball in, Alex, because it gave Chaska some options. Van Epps was in the area, but she was walled off there by Sazama, and that allowed goaltender Youngworth to grab it.
It's not just her ability to clear Sazama, but it's her ability to post up on players inside the box that makes her so dangerous. And of course, it's pretty easy to do that with a size in which that she has.
Macklin on a Chaska giveaway. Ooh, overrunning that one was Studer. Plays it back to Panvica with under a half a minute. And that's a smart play there to get it to Youngworth.
Uh-oh.
Bad clear though. Sent ahead to Davy, but she's offsides.
Jefferson is so lucky that offside was called, or else that would have probably been a goal.
Kayla Youngworth, just a mental lapse, was so unusual for her. All she really had to do was just hang on to it, grab it, walk up, and then punt it away. Just a terrible giveaway, and they are lucky, the Jaguars.
Yeah, Kayla Youngworth a little bit too settled into this game, Josh, I got to tell you. I mean, it's one thing to get comfortable and in a rhythm, but if you're settled down too much, you start to space, and then that's where bad things can happen. But again, as you mentioned, a very rare mistake by her. So very, very lucky to get with the offside on the follow-up being called. Jefferson can breathe a lot easier going into the intermission, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, 2-0 might have seemed an insurmountable task, but certainly within one. Anything can happen in this one as we've reached halftime. The first place Chaska Hawks, Jefferson looking for their second win of the year. If you're watching live, second half coming up in about 9 minutes. If you're watching the tape delayed version, check on back to see when the boys game is going to be played. Either check in to our website, BEC-TV.org, or just go to our Facebook page, Facebook/BEC-TV. Under the lights here at Bloomington Stadium.
And
second half coming up next on BEC-TV.
Why should young people care about the spread of coronavirus? Well, we know that people with underlying medical conditions over the age of 60 are at highest risk, but they've got to get it from somebody.
So we're asking everyone to be selfless for others so that we can protect those who are most susceptible.
Not going to bars, not going to restaurants. It all just means physical separation so that you have a space between you and others.
For more information on how you can social distance, please go to coronavirus.gov.
Back to start the second half. Chaska leading Jefferson 1-0 here in our nightcap of Jefferson versus Chaska doubleheader soccer. Earlier tonight, the boys played to a 2-2 tie. Alongside our crew and alongside Alex Redding, Josh Powers with you. Chaska's Madeline Davey getting her 6th goal of the season, the difference so far. As we get ready for the second half. Alex, game's very important for Chaska. They're currently in a battle for the Metro West. Why don't you run down those standings through 6 games?
Most certainly, Josh, and those standings have the Chaska Hawks as the top bird amongst the pecking order, if you want to call it that, at 5-1-0. They are tied in the points category with the Chanhassen Storm rival Chanhassen at 5-2-0 overall. The Benilde St. Margaret Red Knights, handing Chaska its only loss on the season, are undefeated at 4-0, looking to go 5-0. They have 12 points in the standings. They haven't played too many games as of recent, but that should throttle up as the season comes to a close. The Robbinsdale Cooper Hawks are 3-3-0 with 9 points overall. And again, Robbinsdale Cooper, very talented team, especially with a couple of D1 commits back there for Cooper. Then we have these Jefferson Jaguars at 1-4-1. And they are 4 points overall in the standings, tied with the St. Louis Park Orioles, great soccer school in the Metro West. And then Bloomington Kennedy, we saw them play last night, in fact, against Chanhassen. They are still winless on the year at 0-5-2.
Here are the Jaguars trying to equalize. Abby Longhenry making this throw a possibility with a nice run. Here's Jolie Gunn. She took the Jaguar corner that we saw back in the first half. Gets it to Macklin. Unable to maintain control. For correction, this is Gunn. Was Zozel taking that throw in, number 18 for Jefferson. Here is Zozel. Macklin. Bad pass intended for the freshman Yates.
That pass a little behind. Was looking to get it to Yates. And here she is trying to jockey for the ball.
Working against Madeline Davey, the goal scorer for the Hawks, as it's lifted high into the offensive end, intended for Baki. Baki, their second leading goal scorer with 3 this year. Harmon. Return pass to Harmon. Harmon with a little room. Got it to O'Connor. Her shot twists just wide of the far post. Good strike there by the junior Kinley O'Connor.
Nice job of Harmon being able to get open on the near side to receive that pass and then work it back towards the middle, so we get a replay of that last handoff there, and then of course the boot going wide of the net. Great look though to Kinley O'Connor.
Yeah, I think all the Jaguar players, and myself included in that, thought Harmon was going to shoot that, and I think it caught them off guard when she slipped that little pass in there to O'Connor. And you mentioned Cooper in that rundown of the standings. They're the next opponent. We'll have both games, both boys and girls games for you on Thursday night. That's our next Jaguar girls broadcast. 5 o'clock start for the girls, 7:15 for the boys right here on BEC-TV.
Cooper winless on the year, so they're a very hungry team going into the match. The boys, that is.
I was going to say, don't say that about the girls team. They've got 3 quality wins on their resume. Jefferson continuing to advance this up here.
And again, Jefferson doing a nice job at trying to keep the ball in the attacking zone and improve on that time of possession, which has been so elusive for them in weeks prior. They've had some really good chances tonight when they've been in position.
Jenna Williams getting rid of it there. Of course, that no bigger chance than that Hall offside that found the back of the net, and she was just a step ahead of the play. Sazma got run over by Rambold, who plays it across, and this will be offside. Baki was whistled before she sends it into the back of the net.
Jefferson is so lucky that another offside call waved off another potential Chanhassen Hawk goal. We saw that in the first half, by the way, Josh, and it happened here. again. As we get another look at the replay here, folks.
I would argue that, well, maybe on second look, I can see why that was not called on Rambolt. I was going to say it looked like a foul on Chaska, but I'm going to take that back after watching the replay as Davy clings one off the side of the post again. Second time she's done that. And I say that because Sazama was the one that kind of jumped in the air and initiated that contact. I think a good no call, but you can see clearly their Baki offside.
Yeah, and on the follow-up play too by the Hawks, even a good play made by the goalpost. Well, the soccer goalpost, that is. Of course, we will see the football goalposts in action very soon, as football is weeks away. The State High School League ruling yesterday to return football and, of course, volleyball too to the fall, although they both will have limited seasons.
Just a 6-week football regular season. Here's a dangerous spot for the Jaguars. And they do the smart thing, get it away from that corner and out of play. This is game number 7 of 11 in the regular season for both teams. Here's a ball toward the box, hits Sazama. Davy trying to run it down. Youngworth trying to keep it in play to avoid a corner, and she cannot. So the Hawks will have their 4th corner. They had 3 in the first half. This is the first one here in the second half. And again, it's Kinley O'Connor. Her ball beautifully placed! And the header goes astray. Emma Nelson may have gotten a piece of that one for Jefferson.
Chaska finding out just how difficult it was for Benilde to try and get a scoring play off of a corner kick like that, which Benilde could not throughout that entire game last Thursday night. Jefferson very, very well played as far as the pressure is concerned inside that penalty box on the corner kick.
You get it to Aya Macklin, the talented sophomore for Jefferson. Toward Hall. Hall got a touch on it. Trying to track it down inside the 18. Smart play to play it back for a chance that just goes over the bar by Zozo. Great idea there by Hall as Zozo was running onto the play.
Again, a really nice piece of contact on that ball off the cleat of Zozo. Of course, the ball did go high, but the positioning towards the net was really good. And again, Jefferson needing and looking for more of those chances, obviously, in the second half, as those have been rare opportunities throughout this season. Jefferson much more focused on the defensive side of the ball as they've needed to be, especially against heavyweight contenders like the Chaska Hawks, and even Benilde, in which they played last Thursday.
Jefferson able to get that one first. Ball ricochets right to Aya Macklin. She gets around Van Epps and delivers a long one up the sideline, looking for Long Henry. It'll be a Jaguar throw. Long Henry and Hall, the forwards right now for Jefferson.
Nice job by Maya Akled in the midfield area, able to get it across to the other zone and that pass ahead. Again, that optimistic vision she has is just such an asset for Jefferson, as I keep mentioning, but man, when she has that ball, 9 times out of 10, it's going her direction.
Throw toward Shuck. Twisting ball into the 18. Played delicately by Chaska, and it's going to be a foul, though, on the Jaguars. I think that was Shuck. Correction, it was on Hall. Ooh, coming up lame there was
my
Van
goodness.
Epps. Giving Jefferson a chance here, Zozo. Now they're going to stop play. We saw one non-contact injury already earlier tonight in the boys' game. This one might be cramps, the way they're looking at this one.
Yeah, she is grimacing down there in a little pain.
The way that leg just seized up, that's the only thing I can think of is that.
Yeah, cramp. I mean,
the calf cramp. Watch this. Let's see if they push that foot forward. Yeah, that's exactly what they're looking at there. So that's a good sign. Never want to see an injury.
Well, she has worked hard tonight. And then, of course, with the unseasonably warm atmosphere as we've had over the last couple of days, Josh, hydration, so important.
Yeah, that's Lillian Esping, the co-captain for Chaska. And it is a little unseasonably warm here. We're late September, but temperatures hovering around 80. Not quite 80 now, but the humidity has gone up later in the evening.
And by the way, Josh, and this was during the boys' game too earlier, I have been roasting like a piece of rotisserie chicken in here inside of my booth with the window open, mind you. It's been really, really unpleasant.
Well,
but you know what? We're sticking it through for you, folks, right here on BEC, I got to tell you.
You have it better than me because my booth does not have a window. So we will certainly, it's better than the alternative, Alex. I'd much rather be a little bit warm here. There's our socially distanced studio. You can see it. Alex is the second window to the right, the single window there, and then I'm the one just to the left of that. And I'm also in a separate room in our booth than the public address announcer. So we're all keeping our distance here inside the press box.
But of course it has its advantages too, because I have a lot of notes that I like to bring to the games, as you know, Josh. I get to spread out a little bit more with those notes.
Esping will continue to work on that cramp. I'm sure we'll see her back at some point here. There's one of our camera operators, Lucas Craig. He's, of course, atop in his own little place, level up from where we are. So we're doing our best to protect ourselves and others from coronavirus.
Well, and it's not a bad place to be either, because especially when the weather turns sour, if you are a camera operator up there, there's no place that you'd rather be than up there, especially with the roof over your head.
Jefferson will just surrender possession with the injured Chaska player. That's kind of the sportsmanship thing to do, is the reason they just threw it right to a Chaska player. Zozel unable to keep that one in as we've reached the final half hour of this game. Chaska continues to lead 1-0. You just get the sense that the Hawks won't mind if it ends 1-0. Team that's only given up 4 goals on the year, Chaska. Jefferson's only given up 8 themselves through 6 games. You just wonder how many more chances Jefferson's going to get here in the last half an hour to try to equalize.
And that was the challenge for them too against Benilde last Thursday night, offensively.
Here's Hall trying to make something happen, at least making Chaska defenders work, and that'll be a Jaguar throw. Jefferson has had more possession time in opponent territory tonight than we saw against Benilde on Thursday, but there haven't been very many dangerous chances, and I think that's what they'd like to accomplish here in the last half hour.
And again, that size, being able to get those set plays going, those one-time opportunities down inside the box, comes at a luxury for Jefferson, as Chaska obviously has the upper end of the height spectrum.
Macklin intercepts. Splits defenders. Zozo had a good idea to try to get it to the freshman Yates, but it was off target. Good ball here to Baki. A lot of room to run. Looking for Davey, I believe, in the box. Ball across for Davey. Settles it. Trying to get to that right foot. Davey shot! Saved by Youngworth. She did about as good as she could do, given the Jefferson traffic around her, to send that one right toward the far post, but still, Youngworth was able to make the save.
And she's done it all night, too, as we get a look at the replay here. Well, maybe not the replay that we were quite expecting, though.
That possession was to the liking of Jenna Williams, the
here's the
Chaska
replay.
goaltender. There's the replay. It's about as good as she could have expected from that spot for Davey. You can see how talented she is as just a sophomore for these Chaska Hawks. Davey slices one through. Rambold tried to find O'Connor, blasted away by the Jaguars. Macklin gets her right foot on it. Hall trying to run it down for Jefferson. Lays it through the legs of Harmon. Still alive for Hall. Kind of gave Harmon a shove in the back, and then Harmon shoved her down. We might see a yellow card.
Yep, and the official did draw it.
This would certainly go against Harmon, and there it is. So the aggressiveness for Hall. Now, she got called for a foul before that. So that's why the official's giving this free kick to Chaska. There's the shove right there by Hall. So there's your foul. Actually, that was maybe the first shove. There's your foul right there on the second shove. And then here's your yellow card right there, that shoulder.
Yep, that was
intentional by Harmon.
Yeah, the look on her face says it too as she did it. She definitely had a stink eye.
But the original foul called against Rachel Hall, and that's why you're seeing Chaska, even with that yellow card, get a free kick. Good touch there by Yates. Here's Macklin. Great defense by Van Epps. Yates to Zozel. Got it around Baki. Hall back to Zozel. Back for Hall.
Boy, if that pass was a little bit more on point, Hall could have had a nice chance to get inside the box and take a kick at the net.
Baki, excellent ball ahead to Rambold. Got it past Sazama. Rambold still on the run. She shoves down a Jaguar as Sazama caroms it off a Chaska Hawk out of play. Things are getting
really chippy.
Things are getting chippy.
And of course, on the last yellow card, going back to that, Chaska definitely with a lot of frustration out there, as we could see that last replay, and again, a lot more of the physicality coming out. And again, Chaska is finding out what Benilde had to find out last Thursday, and how tough it is to play Jefferson's defense at home.
This one stays in. Panvika gets rid of it to Yates. Zozel for Macklin. And Van Epps interrupts that pass. Let's take a look at the top 10 here, Alex, as Jefferson throws this one in. Why don't you run down that top 10 for us as our truck pulls up that graphic.
All right, so the Class 2A top 10 for the girls starts us out with the Edina Hornets at number 1, 5-0 undefeated. Centennial at number 2, 4-0. Rosemont at 5-0. Champlain Park at 4-0. Stillwater at 3-0-1. Lakeville North 5-0. White Bear Lake 4-0. Minnetonka 3-2-0. Blaine 3-0-1. And Wayzata 3-1-0. The Wayzata boys team, very strong season as they've had, and also probably the most dominant soccer program in the state, if I am correct.
We saw Jefferson play a ranked team on Thursday. Now that's in single A. Benilde number 2, and Jefferson acquitted themselves quite nicely in that game, losing by 1-0. Trying to avoid that same fate here tonight, and they've got 25 minutes to change it. Played ahead. And Jefferson advancing it a little bit further, but gaining control of the Hawks. Here's Van Epps. Baki. Baki, nice move. Slides one into the box. Sazama deposits it out of play.
Chaska trying to exploit the slot, but they missed a variable there on that one. Sazama's hanging back there too, so good play by Sazama shutting it down.
Goal kick here for the Jaguars. And Kayla Youngworth, co-captain as a senior. Touched by Baki. Ball across for Reef. Reef sends it back. Crozy, her shot just over the bar.
Woo.
Good swing by Catherine Crozy, the sophomore defender, coming up and challenging Youngworth.
You can really tell Chaska's trying to blast open the slot as we get a look at that last kick.
This did not miss by much. Rippling the back of the net. Emma Yates. Twists one across, intercepted though by Baki. Cross into the box for the Hawks. Reef almost got it to Baki. Chipped back into the box, and Youngworth had an option to either play it or let it go out. Either way would have been just fine for the Jaguars. She grabs it. You'd rather have a punt go a little bit further generally than that kick from off of the ground. Kind of like that tee in golf. You put it up a little bit elevated from the ground, you can go just that little bit further usually.
Well, I think it depends from golfer to golfer, though. Because I liked the tee when I golfed for Kennedy in my senior year a little bit more down.
But it's still on a tee, though, and not on the ground is the
or closer
logic.
to the ground.
Here's a blast, and that'll twist wide. Substitution here for Jefferson. Coming back in, number 5, Grace Murray, the junior.
Sophia Lindino also in the game for the Chaska Hawks, might I mention too, with the substitutions.
As she replaced Sierra Reef. Chaska throw as we near the 20-minute mark. So just about 75% of this game into the books, and time starting to dwindle for the Jaguars. We'll put in another solid performance, but made a couple critical mistakes in the first half. One they got away with and one they did not.
Jefferson hoping here for a Chaska mistake.
Long ball by Jolie Gunn, forcing Williams to come way out, and it glances off a Chaska player for the Jaguar throw.
Either way, we're getting a Jaguar throw in the offensive zone, and well, Jefferson still got plenty of time left. They got about 20 and a half minutes to go. So definitely no pressure. Although, yet again, I say that because they have played well. They've settled down when they needed to, but despite the situation calling for some more pressure, they've been very relaxed.
Handball on Chaska will give Sazama a swing here on a free kick. As Jefferson loading up the top of the 18. Good ball, Sazama. They're unable to get the back header, though. Flick back into the box, but Williams has plenty of space.
It's a good job to get the ball away from the Chaska Hawks that were playing the midfield very nicely. They could have blasted it just as easily down way over into their attacking zone, back at the Jefferson end, and that's what Chaska's kind of done tonight. They've had those big, long kicks, just blasted it into the Jefferson defensive zone, and then that's allowed their offense to get really ahead of the play or towards the play to try and play some catch-up.
Foul on Emma Yates will give the Hawks a free kick.
And again, Chaska's had a lot of short field play or short pitch play tonight.
Heading it away was Aya Macklid, but a Chaska foul anyway.
A good stance there by Jefferson's defense off the free kick moments ago.
Goes over the head of Murray. Played back to Crozy, trying to find Baki, and this is going the wrong way for the Hawks. Long run for Harmon, who smartly plays it back to the defense. That was risky, but it got the job done. Van Epp sends it ahead to Jorgensen. Now Crozy with some space again. Hit off the head of Yates. And a Chaska throw.
Good job by Yates standing in there and taking that ball, and had to take it on the head. And you know, that's something that also happened one too many times in the game against Benilde last Thursday.
Yeah, there have been much fewer block shots, and that's a good thing for the Jaguars. It's not like they're missing those opportunities, just Chaska not taking nearly as many shots as we saw Benilde take. But so far, the same number have found the back of the net as what happened on Thursday. And all it takes is one sometimes.
And then, of course, concussion protocol.
Rambolt. Davey winding up. That one blocked. Davey stays with it. Davey scores! What a shot by Madeline Davey. Her second of the game and now 7th of the season.
And by the way, I believe, if I'm correct, Josh, that's her 4th goal against these Jefferson Jaguars as we get another look.
Just so dangerous, Davey. That first one was denied. That little touch right there to space. And then look how she just tucked that just inside the post past the diving Youngworth. Kayla did all she could on this strike to try to stop it.
That's why you never give up on any play, no matter how bad it might look. And give Jefferson credit defensively. They played it about as good as you can play it with how dangerous that she's been against them.
Yeah, Jefferson.
You got the double team and, you know, even the third person back there, too, to help out if things went a little haywire. Of course, in the wrong direction.
Yeah, sorry, Alex. Is Jefferson a little bit unlucky there in that they did a nice job of blocking the initial shot and it just spun in a way where Davey could play it very quickly in succession. So now the Hawks with an insurance goal up by 2. O'Connor left-footed strike off the bar. And she's a right-footed player. That was an excellent attempt by O'Connor.
Well, Youngworth saved by the bar once again. I got to tell you, Josh, there's something about her in front of a net with posts, and the posts do a lot of heavy lifting when she's in net, it seems.
Well, usually on the soccer ice, she's trying to fit it inside those posts for a goal, but on the soccer pitch, those bars are her friend. Certainly you would think with the announcement of volleyball coming back, we don't have an official word on when hockey's coming back, but that's also obviously an indoor sport, and so you would figure that hockey will also have a season. We don't know what it'll look like yet or when, but that volleyball announcement certainly bodes well for the ice hockey season coming up for a lot of these girls that are also on the hockey team. Players like Youngworth and Long Henry, Chuck, Panvika, Jada Johnson as well. Don't want to leave her out.
Can't leave her out, Josh. How dare you?
Dangerous ball here. Little twist wide.
Chanhassen, or correction, Chaska, again, I have the games from yesterday still on my mind for some reason. But anyway, the Chaska Hawks, they've done so well at patiently controlling this time of possession.
Hall squeezed it through to Mackled. Good ball. Murray. Turned back by the Hawks. That was Abigail Neeson working in space. Not a lot of space for Chaska. Going to be very difficult now for the Jaguars. Again, they've just scored 3 goals this year. Chaska's only given up 4. And the ask is to try to get 2 of them here in the final 15 minutes.
Definitely a tall order for the Jefferson Jaguars, and especially in a season which offense has had its rare moments of success.
Looking over her shoulder, Sazama making sure she could let that roll through. Did to Youngworth.
Even though Jefferson's offense hasn't had a whole lot of scoring bright spots. Oh my goodness!
Big collision, and I think rightfully so. She got the worst end of the deal, did the freshman Emma Yates, but she was the one that caused that contact from behind that eventually led Reef to fall on top of her.
Nothing says welcome to a varsity match like that. Hope she's okay.
They both got up quickly, so good sign. It just looked awkward. Reminder, our next Jaguar Girls broadcast, you don't have to wait too long for it, less than 48 hours from now. Thursday night, 5 o'clock start right here on BEC-TV. The opponent, the Robbinsdale Cooper Hawks. Boys game, we'll have it as well at 7:15.
With the way that Jefferson played here tonight, Josh, they, I believe, have the upper hand going into that match.
Talk about the boys team, right? They are certainly riding some good momentum after a positive 2-2 result.
It's going to be a tough challenge for the girls, though, too. But I believe a little bit easier than tonight, facing the top bird in the Metro West.
Chaska did defeat Cooper 3-1 earlier this year, if you're looking for the transitive property of high school soccer.
Somehow that kept in.
Murray does keep that one. No, he did not keep that one in. Throw for Reef as we near the 10-minute mark. See if there's a little bit more urgency in the Jaguar offense here in the final 10. We did see that in the last 5 minutes of the Benilde game as they started to press. Ball across for O'Connor, intercepted by Jada Johnson.
We'll see if Jefferson's offense, as you mentioned, can turn it on late like they did at the end of the first half. You know, that's kind of been a constant theme for Jefferson's offense this year, well, the girls anyway, as they are a later blooming offense. Jefferson certainly hoping that that gene kicks in and immediately.
Ooh, right off of the side of the head of Macklin, it looked like. Long Henry trying to win a 50-50 battle, and Macklin couldn't get there in time, but it is a Jaguar throw. ball across. Plenty of space on this side for the Hawks.
Chaska's been able to find quite a bit of space on the near side.
Reef, long blast. Youngworth could have called for a fair catch there.
Speaking of fair catches, football will be back here at Bloomington Stadium, and you can count on BEC-TV to bring that for you.
We don't know when the games will take place or who's playing who yet, but we'll have it for you when it happens on BEC-TV. We know the first games are scheduled for the week of October 9th and 10th.
Should be a very interesting short season for both the Jefferson Jaguars and the Kennedy Eagles as well. Kennedy now going into their second year into their new Suburban Maroon Conference play. And I got to say, last year they did phenomenally well, especially on the road too. The game at Richfield, that was very entertaining to be at. Although Richfield looked like they would take it early on, Kennedy definitely took over in the second half.
Here's Long Henry. Trying to make a play happen over there with Macklin. This throw will go to the Hawks with just over 9 minutes left.
Also with football returning too, it's going to be interesting to see if on the other side of town Jefferson can get some more quality wins. They had a couple of great wins, once against Apple Valley on the road and then another time right here against Henry Sibley, which was very entertaining.
Macklin, meanwhile, had a shot blocked, which leads to a Jaguar throw. They try to get it to Macklin in the corner, trying to win a corner kick, but instead that glances off a Jaguar.
Definitely a very positive sign to see if you're Jefferson now that you have the ball in the zone and now you're trying to get some chances going as this one sent towards the goalkeeper.
Scooped up by Williams. Grace Murray looks at some options, flings it in the direction of Hall. Hall trying to disrupt that pass and nearly did. Instead it's played to midfield. Johnson twists it back. Bloomquist trying to work around a Chaska defender and does, but she's met there by a second Hawk. Karam's off of Bloomquist. Chaska just not giving Jefferson any room to operate here in this game. Macklin in a collision, trying to get up quickly.
And again, Chaska's depth is one of the reasons why they have not given up anything in this game as far as goals are concerned, because they can always have a fresh body out there, but it also comes down to positioning too. And if there's anything that Chaska specializes in, it's exactly that.
Chaska closing in on another shutout. It would be their 5th shutout of the season. 7 games.
And most certainly one of the top teams, not just in the conference, but I would say in state too, of course.
Ball
They are
in
not
off
in the
of
rankings.
Hall. Hall trying to get there, and a tumbling grab by Williams. And then a bad pass. Give Jefferson a throw right back. Zozo quickly in.
Again, Chaska willing to drag this out for as long as possible. That defensive clear, definitely a statement towards that effect.
Zozo tries to flick it over to Johnson, intercepted. Here come the Hawks, Leroy, and a bad touch.
And of course, you have the 2-goal lead if you're Chaska right now. You don't mind putting it out of play, especially chasing it down along the near side, far side, along the sidelines, or even clearing it out of play.
Here's Long Henry, over for Hall, back for Long Henry. Can't find the connection. And Vika sends it ahead. Macklin. Macklin squeezes it through. Here's Hall. Hall chips it toward Long Henry, but it's intercepted as Chaska recovers nicely. One of the better passing sequences, though, for the Jaguars.
Another textbook example, Josh, as to why you cannot, and I mean under any circumstances, cannot let Macklin get open up the middle, as we just saw her ability to pass as she just demonstrated to Hall. Would have set up Jefferson's first goal of the game if Hall would have even had the chance. Well, actually, she did have the chance, but decided not to take the kick onto the net. I thought she should have taken the kick, but I could definitely see where Hall was wanting to go with that ball, trying to work it towards the middle.
Johnson settles it nicely. That one deflected through. Might still stay in play, and will. Let's take a final look at the Metro West standings, why this game's so important to Chaska. As we start to get late in the season, here's Hall. Only able to deflect into the box. You'll see the Hawks are on top right now. These standings reflect point totals, not necessarily winning percentages. Obviously, you see Benilde at 5-0. They have 15 points, as does Chanhassen. You get 3 points for a win. Chaska also 15 points. And round out the rest of the standings, Alex, you got Cooper next.
Yeah, we most certainly do. And you know, Benilde St. Margaret, even though that they are in third place, I think that it's going to come down between Chaska and them to try and take the Metro West title. With the way Benilde's play, they are still undefeated this season. And
they play in the last game of the season, do Chaska in Benilde. That's on Tuesday, October 6th. That's at Chaska. So that'll be the Hawks' chance, you would think, to at least tie for the title if the two teams win those remaining games up until that date. So final Jaguar subs here, just over 3 minutes to play. As the Jaguars are going to fall a little bit shy again. It was another strong defensive effort for Jefferson. Not quite as tight as last Thursday, but
there is, of course, another positive you have to take away if you're the Jefferson Jaguars. You had some really good chances in this game when you got them offensively, and you know that's something that they lacked in the Benilde game last Thursday night. You know, I got to say the offensive pressure in tonight's match was definitely more improved.
Here's a long attempt, but Youngworth has a beat on it on that strike from Annalise Galland.
And going back to our earlier readout of the Metro West Conference standings with Chaska atop that conference at 5-1, they got some critical games coming down the stretch, and of course, as we previously mentioned, they host Chanhassen. That's going to be obviously a great game. The Chaska-Chan rivalry, always in season, always hot and testy, but even more so because, well, these are the top two heavyweights as of right now for the Metro West standing, so it's going to be with a little bit extra added heat. A little dash of cayenne pepper on it. And then, of course, they go on the road to St. Louis Park and Cooper. So Cooper will definitely give Chaska a little bit of a challenge. And again, as I've mentioned previously, they have a couple of D1 commits that Chaska will have to work around. Although Chaska did beat Cooper 3-1. So Cooper looking to get even. Then, of course, they host Benilde. And, well, what a way to end your season to host Benilde St. Margaret. Definitely a very interesting season for the Chaska Hawks. Very dominant one.
Throw here for the Jaguars with just over a minute left. They're trying to get one on the board late. The Hawks looking good for their 5th shutout of the year. Their defense has been so impressive.
I mean, you can't ask for anything more if you're Chaska. And exactly how they do it from week to week, of course, is going to be a mystery to me. But of course, that comes with the insider stuff. But as far as what I can see on the outside and in tonight's match, it leaves me thinking no wonder why they're so good. Just how under control they are. and always patient, waiting for the right opportunity. They're not going to give up bad looks too often.
Williams! That nearly caromed off her hand toward Abby Longhenry, who would have loved to find the back of the net. As Williams kicks it for the final time. Chaska Hawks stay atop the Metro West. They're now 6-1. They score a goal each half, both by Madeline Davey, and they defeat Jefferson for the second time this year, and also for the second time this year, 2-0, identical scores. In both of those matchups, as Alex, once again we saw Jefferson's defense come to play, but the Hawks, they do what they do, and they don't have maybe the most overly talented roster, but they are very solid indeed.
Most certainly true, and give Jefferson on their side of the ball credit tonight, the way they played. They come off some great energy playing against Benel, holding them to 1 goal, even though that they held Chaska to 2 goals, and it was a tough loss for Jefferson, but however, they do take away some positives with, of course, that defense which has played so well for them. The offense got a little bit more going tonight than they had it going on Thursday night. And we have some highlights ready for you, by the way. We're going to go ahead and take a look at those here real quick, Josh.
Yeah, the Hawks threatened early. That was a terrific save by Youngworth on a header by Davey. More from Davey as she finds the back of the net. That was a Jaguar defensive turnover and breakdown. Their biggest mistake of the game. The Hawks continue to threaten. Jefferson had more possession time, as you mentioned, Alex, than we saw on last Thursday, and that was a disallowed goal. Rachel Hall was offsides. More from Youngworth. Here's O'Connor. That one twisted just wide. We had some collisions in this game.
Yeah, it got chippy in the second half, didn't it? It definitely picked up.
No injuries, thank goodness. We had the one cramp, but that was about it, as that was offside. That goal did not count.
Then, of course, the net making some saves of its own there, as we saw about a couple of plays ago.
This was a chance by Zozo that went just over the bar for Jefferson. And here's Davey with an opportunity. That would not be the last time we see her, unfortunately, for Jefferson. They're glad they don't have to play her again, at least in the regular season.
And you can see even more physicality on the last replay, and then this one off the back of the net.
Here's the second goal from Davey. Jefferson had blocked the initial shot, but she was able to get to the rebound and pushes it home for a 2-0 Chaska win. Final thoughts from you, Alex.
Very well played game as usual for Chaska, and this was a tough test for them tonight against the stout Jefferson D. And I've already mentioned some of the things that Jefferson came away with tonight as far as how they played, but Chaska, they really need to pay attention to who they're going to face next. They just got to keep moving and focus on that prize that's at the end of the road. But Benel is waiting for them during the final game of the season, and Benel goes on the road to Chaska. So some interesting games coming up for Chaska. They're going to be well prepped moving out of this game tonight. Again, very patient. They are willing to stretch things around and get looks that they want to, and just a lot of poise from this group of girls tonight, well led by the Chaska Hawks, especially inside of that box where they were so dangerous. And, well, just another well-played game on both sides. It should be very, very interesting seeing how they do in the standings in the weeks to come. And, of course, I'm looking forward to the game coming up on Thursday, or games rather, as we have yet another doubleheader this week. It'll be our third.
So, yeah, that's our next broadcast, Alex. Thursday night, 5 o'clock for the girls, 7:15 for the boys, as we put a wrap on this one. For our entire crew, for Alex Redding, I'm Josh Powers. Chaska wins this one 2-0 over the Jaguars. Good night from Bloomington Stadium.